needs to go through the QA process on their side. And given it's the first time it's going to go on there, that QA process can usually take a little bit more time than what might be a further update or a patch. Right. What it means is that's where it'll come through, and essentially there's a process around how you'll get that. So it won't be the typical download that you've been used to through our page. Yeah, exactly. So from more
professional, it's a little bit more.
Yeah. So from a security user experience standpoint, it's a lot of a better play. So as well as it being sad news, there's also a bunch of kind of positives that come from that as well. So I'm still looking forward to it. I'm still excited, but it just means we got to curtail our excitement a little bit.
Excited about this, guys. It's just it's always frustrating when we don't hit a mark, but we will say that this is for the best, and we got the right thing coming to you guys. So
yeah, and one of the other things is we want to pack in even more kind of activations going into this, and we got a couple of cool ideas that I think you'll all be very receptive to. So definitely looking forward to that. We've got Kevin Mack in the house right now. Kevin, we've obviously put out a little statement around a delay on the game release and explained that it is due to Epic QA and kind of getting it on the store, but also there's a ton of benefits that come with that as well. Yeah. So from my understanding, we could have still got a game out, but it would have been single player, and there's no real benefit from that because we want to test out multiplayer. We got to get the game loaded. So Kevin, over to you, sir.
Yeah, it's kind of a bunch of things. I mean, the big difference now is we're doing the stuff now the way it's really done in the if you're releasing a game commercially out in the real world. And what that means is we use third-party authentication now, and it's being distributed through the store, but also that means that it needs to go through a QC process with Epic. They got to do a KYC process with us, basically just make sure that we're not like shady money launderers, right? That kind of thing. So the
side hustle for us.
Yes, yeah. But as long as we keep the shady money laundering out of the game,
right? Exactly.
Instead of well passing.
Yeah. So basically, what that means is, certain parts of the process just take longer than they used to. Where it used to be just, hey, you just go and stick an executable up on the website and call it done. Mm-hmm. Now it's got to go through a more extensive process, being evaluated, being looked at, and it also means that we need to do a lot more to get it ready to go for that. But the benefit for everybody out in the world, beyond the fact that this is like a night and day better game than what's out there right now. I mean, it is a massive difference. But the big benefits are we're now using all of the infrastructure that we need to be using to do all the stuff that we want to do in this game, to be able to give you, really a broad extensibility, just keep on adding stuff onto it, be able to give you leaderboard support, voice chat support, achievement support, all that kind of stuff, be able to support single login, so you can log in with your Epic account, Steam account, your Xbox account, your PlayStation account, whatever. All that stuff, all that infrastructure, not all of it's going to be in the initial build, but all of the infrastructure that's required to make that stuff possible is in this. And that's why there's such a big benefit to doing it this way rather than just like zipping up a file and sticking it up on a website and calling it done. That's not a sustainable process.
Not at all. It's actually
well. It also gave us no way to update stuff. Like one of the big problems we used to have with the old version of the game was we went and updated the server. The clients would no longer be compatible with the server. There was no way to let anybody know that happened. Whereas now that we're using a proper distribution pipeline, that stuff is all handled for us. We're going to be updating those servers all the time. Because the game is a work in progress, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming into it. So we want to make it a really seamless process where it just works. Just like any other game, you go and try to launch it, and the game says, "Hey, you need an update first." Boom, you get the update. The update's not ridiculously huge because we're able to go and support a patching mechanism rather than just like, "Hey, you got to go re-download the whole thing," even though we changed 5 textures. It's like, it's better all the way across. But there's just a lot of work that goes into making this stuff possible.
Yeah, man, you guys are absolutely beyond crushing it right now. You guys are totally kicking ass on these builds and putting these things out. And the truth is, despite this news, this is actually a pretty big milestone for us as a project. I feel like getting onto Epic Online Services and getting these
It's
servers
huge.
right. Yeah, it's massive.
Well, and that's the other crazy thing going on here that I don't know if anybody's addressed yet is we're also very clearly among the vanguard of teams going into a release posture in Unreal 5. And so we're discovering all kinds of stuff and in constant communication with the Epic folks about it's like, hey, right now, I know these guys are wrestling with the, with kind of a mysterious issue with the Linux server build, and obviously we got to get that stuff running. We can run Windows servers, but the Linux server is a lot more efficient, and so it's a lot of that kind of stuff where there just aren't a lot of teams yet, clearly, that have done this yet, because a lot of times when we go and communicate with the Epic folks, we're like, hey, this looks like it's broken, and then they go and check it and say, oh, shit, you're right, it really is.
Yeah, we're the first people to that.
We've never encountered this before.
Right, that means we were the first ones to go try to do that.
And I've seen it with the team so far, and I know that sometimes that can be a little frustrating, but there's a little bit of a vote of confidence there, too. We're the only people who've gotten this far with this project.
Yeah, I would venture to say there's not a lot of people out there who know more about Unreal 5 than us, than these folks. I mean, other than, like, obviously, the Epic team building Fortnite. They know more than that.
It's good company to have.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But it's fun. It's frustrating. You can't Google stuff mostly, because especially once you get into the server stuff, you really can't.
Yeah.
Because the unwashed masses out there on YouTube land, they're not doing this stuff. They're not going and spinning up containerized, dedicated servers on Linux and trying to matchmake into them. I mean, they're like coding their little games
basic
stuff only calling time. So it's like as you start to get into this stuff, you're getting into territory where really the only place you can get information is either by reading code, which we do a lot of, or by just getting on UDN with the Epic people and saying, "Hey, bro, we did our homework. What's going on here?" So,
where would you go from here, type of thing?
Yeah.
All right, good stuff.
It's
So
nice to know too that this will be something that we're going to be able to post updates to easier now. We've got a pipeline to really support that versus like you were saying.
Yes, well, and that's the whole point. We're now that this thing is real.
Yeah.
Going through the professional release process brings massive benefits because because at that point now the infrastructure is in place to go and support it as an ecosystem. So when we need to patch it, we've got a way to do it.
Yeah.
We need to communicate stuff to the that needs to happen to the community. We can if we need to go and make it possible to run multiple builds so that we can have a QA build that that our Vanguard are looking at, and then it's like just all the stuff that now becomes possible. Yeah, just
all right, so
Freaking cool.
So in summary, a small delay, but for good reasons, and lots of kind of benefits and kind of structural elements that will come into play as a result of this. I think we toyed with continuing to deploy it through just our website through the old method, but there's no point in going backwards, right? We have to go forward, and
really,
there's no point in
not. Yeah, because the reality is, if we did it that way, then the player profiles don't exist. In that, these player profiles are bound to the identity provider, and the identity provider is bound to your game session by the store launcher. So when you go and launch it, that's how it knows who you are. Right. But if we just go and stick an executable up on the website, it has no idea who you are.
Yeah.
And so the old way we used to do it was, of course, we just did the wallet authentication. We have that in, but we're not using the wallet now to gate people and saying, hey, you can't come in without this. We're using it as as
identifier essentially.
It's additional stuff that gets bound up. It's like, oh, wait, this person, this account owns these hooligans.
Exactly.
Right. So we could have, but I mean, I also would have had read some nasty stuff to make it possible because.
Patience is going to prevail for sure.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, kind sir. Wizard
Mr.
continues to do wizard like
Whatever your name is.
that goes over most of our heads, but there's a bit of an explanation. Wizard needs to get back to his station. I'm gonna probably stay on me and West and give you a few more updates. But any questions for the Wiz whilst he's here?
He's only got a minute, so.
I like questions. So.
Wizard likes questions, so let's give him something.
Yeah.
Even if it's what does he eat for breakfast?
Will Zuckbot still give you access to the game?
Well, access to the game now is being handled differently because ultimately the game is going to be accessible to anybody who wants to play it. But if you own stuff, then you're able to use that stuff in the game. Yeah. So Zuckbots, we do intend to incorporate them into the game. So like Zuckbots you own, you're going to be able to use them. That's a little bit later on. But so it's not that they give you access to the game because you already have access to the game. It's that there's going to be a bunch of cool stuff you're going to be able to do with them if you want.
I think the question is because this is a community build that's going to be gated to our community or people with the keys.
Okay.
Is obviously only holders and Zuckbot holders will have access to it. But from my understanding, essentially we'll be granted for a number of several thousand keys to then distribute to the community.
Right.
So we'll be managing that. That won't be managed through. Oh, I don't keep thinking Steam. That won't be managed through Epic. That'll be managed through our site on our website. So essentially, we'll have several thousand keys. Likely either have a wallet connect or a snapshot, and everybody who holds a Zuckbot or a hooligan will be able to go and access their key. They'll then use that key to be able to download the game through Epic. So shit's getting really real, to be honest with you. I think we've been threatening that we're going to go on Epic Store soon, and that's becoming a reality. Probably a little bit earlier than we were expecting to. So there's only kind of positive benefits that can come through that, and although it is a small delay, it's very, very exciting.
And just for context here, guys, too. Like Carl, Kevin, our game team, they've essentially rebuilt this entire game architecture from the ground up in a matter of months, and it's now one of these things to see it to see it now hitting the marks that it's hitting, and frankly now becoming a real game in this way. Again, we're always frustrated by delays, but ultimately, like, I'm just super proud of you guys, man. I'm fucking feeling
good. It was super, super important to do that.
Right, and not essentially they did.
We did. Absolutely. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's two separate pieces of software. What I just spent the last 2 days doing with the Hall Pass stuff was had the old game editor open and the new game editor open and looking at code between them and figuring out like
two different things.
Yeah, just how do I need to rewrite it? In the new architecture, but it was massively worth doing that because the new architecture is sustainable. We can keep on building on top of it, where the old one, it's sort of, I mean, it's easy to, no, well, it's not easy to build a game. It's easier to build a game if you're just going to go and fire it off once and forget it. Right. It's a world of difference if you're planning to maintain the game as a service and you want to keep things alive for the community, keep on creating new stuff for people. At that point, you have a much more complicated process of architecting this and make all these parts fit together and make sure that what you do is going to be compatible with stuff that you want to add in later on.
Yeah.
So it's
all right. Good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
So we will be
welcome to hang, but I know you guys should.
We'll be one of the first games actually deployable on the Epic Store.
Well, there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games on the Epic Game Store. We're definitely early in the Unreal 5 cohort. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple others out there that testing it. It's not going to be a lot.
I meant more so on like the Web3 side of things, or like blockchain and NFT.
Yes. Yeah.
I know there was a lot of news about a game last year being the first on it, but when I go on the game's page on Epic, you can't. It's on waitlist only. Like, there's actually no games to download. So, Yeah, we're kind of entering new territory. And one last thing, there's like they don't give us any timeline on their end of the process, right?
No, because it comes down to like just how long it takes them to go and look at it and feel like they're satisfied that they know what's in it, and there's not like shady shit hanging out down some deep corner of the game somewhere or
That makes
whatever.
sense,
You know, yeah. So I mean, they don't commit to timelines because they don't know how long it's going to take to look at it because they don't know how big the thing is, and there's also the reality that there's other stuff in the queue. So it comes down to like just people are going to look at it. What else do they have to do, and how long does it take to do this? So,
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Kevin. How are you going to make it up to the carrot gang?
how am I going to make it up to the character?
Aside from providing a kick-ass gaming experience.
Way better game.
Besides building this entire thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I got to think something here.
All right.
You can sing to them or something.
We'll give you till Friday to work that out. All right.
I don't honestly.
No, you don't have to make anything up.
You're
You're good.
okay, cool. All right. Any final questions before we Dumbledore goes back to his desk and keeps coding?
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
Skyhopper.
Yeah, go for it.
I was just wondering if maybe there was a benefit to going a little bit deeper on our partnership with Epic. With the delay and us kind of associating with Epic, other games going live on Epic Game Store. I'd just be curious if our relationship with Epic is deeper or different, or partnership is deeper or different, and if we're waiting on some type of announcement around that. Doing that sooner rather than later might be helpful, given the delay.
I don't have the relevant knowledge to answer that
I don't think
particular question.
any of us here actually do.
Yeah, I think we can probably delve a little bit more into that on Friday if you're okay with that.
We have a really good relationship with Epic, but nothing new to report necessarily.
Yeah. All right. So let's delve into it. I kind of get the question. So I'll inform Luke P on that and see what extra information we can delve there. But Epic's been a big supporter of the studio since day one, as we discussed. And there's a lot of kind of integration of those folks over there. And I'm not ultimately in those discussions, so I can't provide too much more color on it than that.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic. I mean, they swing into action and provide a lot of help when we need it. And of course, we make sure we don't waste their time, which is they got.
Yeah, I fully trust that aspect of it. I think it's just for the outsiders that'll be newcomers that are going to start looking at it. That might be like, oh well, Grit is on the store and this is on the store. Just would love to know how we're different than that. You know what I mean?
This is the interesting thing. I don't think Grit's on the store.
It is actually. They just put it out for free 2 days ago.
Oh right, okay, yeah,
So
cool.
it's
just come
brand
out.
spanking new out there. But
UE5 too or no?
I don't know if they were UE4 or UE5.
Yeah,
I think they're 4.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I know they've been in production for a while. They've been in production like about more than double the time that we have.
And Kev,
they've got like at least a year's head start.
like Grit's process wouldn't be any different from what we're experiencing currently going through the QA process, right?
No, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, and because I checked Grit last week and it wasn't on there. It was waiting list only, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
I should
they
definitely download
just
it.
dropped it 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, just popped out
And that announcement came out a year ago.
yeah. That's not like
I remember the announcement, and it was like big freaking. Oh, it was a huge.
Well,
huge announcement.
especially if you've got anything involving crypto in your game, they look at it really closely because they just want to make sure. Because at that point,
it makes sense.
you're now creating a piece of software that can theoretically execute transactions that they have no visibility into, no authority over. They want to make sure that you're not doing shady shit in there. Totally. So they do look.
Yeah, and Epic are really receptive to games that have blockchain elements.
Yeah, they're awesome about that.
So
they get it.
there's no. This isn't about any pushback. It's just about going through the process and there and
they're
taking what it
They
takes.
want to make sure we're not going to go like wipe out some 13-year-old's wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is legit. It's what they should be doing.
Yeah,
totally.
13-year-old. I don't know what I was going to say then.
Sounded like a joke was about to
Joke is about to happen. That was very quickly stopped by myself, just in case. All right, got to be careful sometimes. I'm not Hooli. There's only certain things I can get away with. All right, any final questions for Kevin? Kevin obviously will be on the live stream and AMA on Friday. So hopefully they'll have some good stuff in store for us then. But one of the other things is, one key thing is just to make everybody aware is, and this isn't anything we've shared with you, but I'm going to share it right now, whether I'm allowed to or not. But we are in discussions with a number of big players in the gaming industry. From an investment point of view, and from even more than that, from a support point of view, we have been having conversations with Activision, and we are going to be sending them a build to playtest. It won't be before you guys. It'll be probably at around the same time. And one of the important things with that, and again, we've also, Binance have been in touch, and we've recently sent them a slightly older build recently for them to playtest as well. Whilst we're doing all of this, we are having these kind of discussions in the background, and we don't necessarily know what's going to come of them, but from a perspective that it could mean a partnership, could mean investment, could mean whatever, listings, etc. Could mean a lot of things, but as a bare minimum, what it can mean is, especially from the likes of an Activision, we're absolutely huge gaming studio and publishers. It can actually mean that we get our game in front of them, and they can give us real solid industry-leading feedback as well from a traditional gaming point of view, and that is huge in itself. So we've got a lot of these opportunities, and for that, one of the kind of key things we have to get in this game is KPI tracking, which might not mean so much to you all, but it's important.
It's extremely important
from the perspective of anybody looking into the game, being like,
a real product.
How many members of the community are jumping in? How long they're staying for? Are they coming back? What are the actions they're taking? So it's really important that we get this right. It's really important that we have some form of game mode in there, and it's not going to have all our game modes in there, but we're aiming for free for all being in there. We're not aiming for it. That one is, I believe, being in there.
Yeah.
So it's important that we get this game to you with that in there, and it has various aspects that you can enjoy over and above the original one, and therefore we can report on that as well. So what we will be doing is we are going to be having activations that go with this, mini challenges, such as a creator contest, teams and individuals, points-based mini tournaments, etc. So there's a lot of things that we're kind of cooking up to ensure not only do you guys and gals as a community get value from it, but we also kind of get value from it from a data perspective as well, and can deliver that messaging to the individuals that are looking into what we're doing here.
It helps us tune the game.
1000%.
One of the big things you do with your KPI tracking, you pay attention to are there weapons everybody uses? Are there weapons nobody uses? Are there parts of the map that everybody plays in? Parts of the map that nobody plays in? It's like that's how you start tuning and figure out where you got your strong spots and your weak spots, and whether you got like a dominant weapon that you got to nerf, or just a wimp weapon that nobody likes, and you got to figure out what's wrong with it.
I imagine that over time, a lot of we'll sort of live and die by a lot of these metrics, and we'll probably be we'll be paying very, very close attention to what you guys are telling us by your behaviors in the game, and that will ultimately make us tune this game. And again, it's all about finding that product market fit, right? And this is how we do so.
Yeah, and part of this whole process is about the community are part of this build with us. You're all part of this team and part of making this a success. All right, thank you, Kevin.
He's got to go.
And the feedback process, the process of having this as a community-only build to start with, it's all important in terms of us being able to kind of fine-tune these elements, so that when we do launch a kind of more public version, it is absolutely solid in all aspects, from gameplay, optimization, and efficiency. And that's why we're
calibrated to the things that we know are going to be the most fun, that get the most traction, and actually get the most attention in the game. That's important. So.
All right, cool. I hope that all made sense, and I believe Aches is recording this, and we'll upload it, so anybody who's not been able to jump on here can jump in it. I'll just quickly kind of run through, whilst we've got everybody on here, just see if there's any other kind of updates I can quickly give. Okay. Right, K-Gold store is, I believe it's been developed. It's currently in testing. So
once again, big shout out to our devs and Aches and Elbex. You guys have been great. Appreciate it.
All right, so that hopefully will be dropping very soon. We're getting very close on the Zuckbot migration as well. It's interesting right now because I've had a few conversations around, given what's happening with meme coins and ETH gas, is that gas is kind of outweighing the ability to even
gas is
have
insane,
ownership, or even like is over the cost of ownership of the Zuckbot. So that kind of like, kind of really ties into the conversation we had probably a few weeks about of whether it is a play to look into a layer 2 migration for the Zuckbots, given the kind of activations that are coming along with the parts and the building of other bots and models, and even beyond that. So that's definitely something we really need to take seriously right now. So I definitely want the community to start thinking about that from a very practical point of view. And I know that it might be assumed that there's less volume on Polygon and more on Ethereum, but practically we need to look at is the situation with ETH right now, and even going forward, if gas remains in the way it is, it'll kind of make that collection not unusable, but a very expensive collection to have any form of activations with, especially when it comes down to the system we've got in place for the parts and what's going to have to be done with the parts and any in-game. Yeah. So I want you all to kind of really kind of consider that deeply. But we have an option for both ways around that. What else? So the other update in terms of the kind of carrot orange paper or white paper, that's coming around very well actually. It's getting even more exciting day by day with our new structure and kind of more open in terms of rewards for holders and governance. So that is in process, and as soon as we can get the next draft out of that to the community, we will do. But there's a lot going on there and massively exciting stuff. I think it's if you thought the old orange paper was good, this is going to be the next level and next step up. So definitely something to get excited about.
Into a new chapter.
Other updates. I know some merch and gift boxes are due to individuals. I know some of you have been waiting on them for a while. They're all in progress. They'll all be going out from the studio directly to you all. So if anybody's won anything, whether it's the new Hooli boxes, whether it's cards, Hooli heads, or merch packs, they are on their way out. So bear with us as that comes out. Okay, what else? I think that's it. I think that's everything on my end to kind of give an update on. We have got the live stream and AMA at 11 a.m. on Friday, so definitely kind of tune into that, and we'll be showing you where we're up to and be going into a bit more detail about some of these things. Whilst you've got us on here, any questions?
There was one from Merman. Can we at least know if there will be or not have a community round for the carrots, or just where it's standing? An update would be appreciated.
Oh yeah. No, that's definitely the intention. Legal are working on that. We had an update call with them today. It's being worked on. So we have an update call with them every week. So that is in process. They know that's what we want to do. They know that's our intention. How that will work is being drafted up. So there will be an element of KYC around that. And there are vendors you can use for the US side of things as well. So there is a process that we have to adhere to for that. So we're just taking our time to make sure we get that right. But it is our intention to do that and ensure that the community can partake in that process.
Yeah, totally.
So the answer is yes. Just bear with us whilst we develop the process for that. Anything else coming through, Aches? And you know what? It's interesting actually. So let's just talk about this a bit. I think this whole meme coin run is probably quite positive towards NFT holders who are traditionally not so in tune with the crypto world, getting really well versed and more versed in the crypto world around buying tokens, how the decentralized exchanges work, how liquidity works. Market caps, etc. So I think it's actually a really positive thing that can only actually benefit us going into this. And I think that's probably a lot of people are going to be really hot on that pre-sale as well. So
and the truth is, before, other than penny stocks, nothing like this really ever existed.
Yeah, it's true.
This whole experience is like a crash course to be able to see how these markets function.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And I will say a lot of these meme coins and tokens that are out there, especially ones being launched by influencers or being shilled by influencers, very, very dangerous and risky.
Yeah, definitely be
Not,
careful, guys. For God's sake.
not only from an investment point of view, but from a legal point of view. And I believe that there could be a lot of hot water in terms of how these are run, coming their way if there are any complaints to the SEC. However, we're doing our things properly.
As a matter of fact, Huli's going to have a couple of things to say about that in a couple coming
pieces. Yeah. So just something to be aware of. So whereas you might see a token launch tomorrow with a pre-sale, that's not likely a very legal and wise way to do things.
Yeah.
And these things might not catch up with you straight away, but inevitably they will, because inevitably with all of these things, for somebody to win, somebody has to suffer.
Yeah,
and nobody wants to suffer.
I think it's really important that just to let you guys know, we take this very serious, and again, we have a game and a product, and
we're not meme kind.
Yeah, we've got a lot to protect here, so we take this shit very, very seriously, and need to make sure that everything is just the due diligence is done.
But it shows you the amount of uptake that a well placed token can get.
Totally.
So it kind of. Whereas we might have previously thought, okay, the NFT community, we know our community is going to massively partake in what we do, but the wider NFT community wasn't necessarily partaking in tokens like they are now. So I think it's only a good thing that everybody's educated and everybody's understanding of how that side of the world works and is more in tune with it. It's probably because there has been some rapid gains to be got there, and currently, unfortunately, volume in NFTs and collections is down right now. So everybody's going to look to the next thing to really jump on. Fortunately for us, this next thing we've got has been in development for a long time. We're definitely dotting our I's and crossing our. Is that the right? Crossing our T's. Yeah, I always get that one mixed up.
We got that.
So and again, a whole different animal in terms of what they're doing, because we've got a studio to protect, we've got holders to protect, and we've got an absolutely kick-ass amount of utility going into that too. So yeah, look forward to that. It's super exciting, and I'm getting even more excited by that, seeing what's going on out there.
Definitely.
I think that's everything from me. Look forward to speaking to you all again on Friday.
Hey, Skyhoppers, Terra Gang, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day.
What do we got? What up, Jamin?
What's going on, boss man? I just had a quick question. I'm not sure if you guys had already posted on an announcement prior to this, or if you guys even said it already in here earlier, but I was curious to know if there's any time frame, date, or week as to when 1.5 is going to be in our hands.
Yeah, so we've not said it. We have Kevin over here. Kevin has informed us that basically the Epic do not offer a timeline on this. It could be a few days to a few weeks. Essentially, it's basically in their hands. They'll take however long it takes them to kind of go through it. And one of the so if you listen back to it, but essentially in a nutshell, they have to go through a QA and QC process to ensure that there's nothing in our code or nothing in our executable that could harm anybody that downloads it, because ultimately they take some form of accountability and responsibility for hosting these things on their platform, so they want to make sure that they've done their due diligence on it. So given it's our first build that's going to go out on there, it takes a bit longer than it would if we were to push out an update.
It's worth listening to Kevin say.
It's worth kind of going through what Kevin said.
Essentially, that QC is going to be more extensive on the first go, but luckily the good news is, it
makes it a lot easier. It's going to go on Epic Store.
Yeah, exactly, and it makes it a lot easier for us to then patch updates and provide it to you guys a lot faster than we have in the past.
So shit's getting real. Shit's getting super real.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Drew.
Appreciate you all as always, and look forward to speaking to you all on Friday. But just wanted to jump on here and get Kevin on here so you can hear it from a real technical wizard rather than me and West, who are always on here all the time. All right.
Awesome. Appreciate the episode, boss.
All right. Peace.
We appreciate you guys.
Peace.